This was my very first CAT attempt.
Really?
I have been working with Bosch at their headquarters. There's this Udupi Sri Krishna Matha, an activity in which it is inviting everyone to write the Bhagavad Gita in their own preferred language and to submit it to the Pithadipati.
But for me also, it helped me quite a lot because after I read Bhagavad Gita, when I'm thinking about it, and for a few hours.
So my story is entirely different from his. I was listening to his story and it has lots of strategy and structure and everything. And I don't think that my story would be very ideal for aspirants. 7 days before the exam, there was just something that first interview was Bangalore. I didn't even sit on my chair. I was adjusting the chair under table and one of the professors asked, let's say a Jhumri Talaiya like Kharagpur. Yeah, so the last question, how the interview ended very abruptly. The last question he asked me, definitely, I don't recommend this to aspirants.
My B interview was completely. CAT is not even half the game. So I was like, for 5 to 10 seconds, I was boom, what to do?
One thing I would say is, even I was a STEM engineer, I think she's also a STEM engineer. One thing is, I'll tell you the mistakes I made, okay? And how it impacted. Welcome to both of you. I'm very happy that both of you have done well, both in CAT as well as in the interviews, okay? Your profiles were actually pretty interesting and I wanted to hear all of it. This is like a free-flowing conversation. Anything that you want to say, okay, you can say. In general also, like some of my teammates say that you should let the people who have done well speak. So in general, I would say the floor is open. But to get started, I just want to know about both of your stories with respect to your profile, how you studied, where you studied, okay? And then when did you think of taking CAT, okay? Those kind of things. So we can start with you.
Sure. So I grew up in Visakhapatnam.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, even I'm from Vizag, but okay.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah. So I am a native of Kolkata, but I grew up in Vizag. Okay. Did my schooling and 11th, 12th from there.
Which school?
DPS. I studied in DPS and then 11th, 12th from Fiji, Vizag.
Okay.
Yes, and then...
Just because you're from Vizag. Where in Vizag were you staying?
I was staying in Steel Plant Township. My father worked in Steel Plant. Okay. So we're in the township, which is around 30 kilometers from the city. Yeah.
Now there are actually some controversies and all, right? With
Right.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, so you grew up in Vizag?
Yes, grew up in Vizag. Yeah. And then I joined IIT Kharagpur for my BTech in Industrial Engineering.
Okay.
Spent 4 years there. It was a good experience. And then I joined McKinsey out of college. It was the front-end client-facing role, consulting. Worked at McKinsey for a year. Okay. It was a good experience. Some things good, some things bad. And then eventually thought that I wanted something where I had more ownership of things. So I moved to Zomato as a program manager.
Very nice.
At Zomato, I was there for a short period of 8 months.
Okay.
And then I'm now working at Masai School, which is based in Bangalore. It's an edtech company.
Okay.
I'm working there in the founder's office as an entrepreneur in residence.
Very nice. Excellent profile. Okay. No, I'm just trying to see your profile in the MBA Institute. You are going to IIM Bangalore, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it is looking very good. Basically, I think you have good 10th score. I think your CGPA and IIT was also good.
Yeah, it was 9+, yeah.
Yeah, very good. And you have like pretty decent work ex. But one question I want to ask, which you might be guessing, is many people actually want to get into consults, okay?
Right.
You know that even in IIT, even in IIMs, right, consulting is like so sought after.
Exactly, yes.
So why did you got a very good job, okay, great job, dream job for many people.
Right.
So why did you leave it?
Right. So what I figured out is the idea that I had in my mind about how the consulting job would look like and what it actually was, they were slightly different.
Okay.
2-3 pointers. One thing is there's a little less ownership in consulting, especially at a junior level, because there's a lot of hierarchy in especially older firms like McKinsey, etc. There are associate partners, senior partners above you, and everything that you have to do, it has to have approval from at least 5-6 levels of people. Yeah. So there is very little ownership that you have in the things that you do. So at some point of time, you just start feeling that maybe if I had a little more ownership of things that I was driving, that was one thing. Second thing was, I am somebody who likes strategy building. So thinking about new ideas, solving a problem and then implementing it. Strategy thinking was also slightly missing. I felt it was more about people management, like talking to clients, just getting things done from clients, getting data from them and then analyzing it and presenting it. Not a lot of actual novel problem solving. So that is why I decided to move on to roles where I had little more of strategy thinking and ownership, execution.
No, I think it's very good. These are both the things I can understand, but I didn't think of it before. Okay, like I'll just deviate before I come to you. This is where my team tells me to not talk, but I anyways wanted to share. Basically, with respect to consults, one of the issues that I used to have, because many of my friends work in consulting and quit consulting, was with respect to the lifestyle. People used to say that they had to travel, they have to take so many flights, and after a point of time it gets super tiring. So in general, even I tell that many of the people, okay, like you guys, when after the interview is over, if they ask me about consulting and all, I give free flowing this that okay, it's a good job, but there are many cons, okay, which people don't know. But good, very interesting. So now how much did you score in CAT?
98.75.
Very good. And you converted Bangalore.
Bangalore. Yes.
What are all the calls that you had?
I had Bangalore, Kozhikode and Indore in Blackie. And the remaining I didn't apply for JAP or CAP.
Yeah.
So in these three, I converted Bangalore, Indore. Kozhikode interview, I didn't go for giving the interview. I went to my home.
Was that your first interview or?
My first was Bangalore. Bangalore was the very first interview.
Okay, then that's fine. I think that's okay. Okay, good. So yeah, about yourself, your profile.
Yeah. So I like to call myself a pan-Indian because I have been to all the four parts of India. So
Okay.
I originally come from the east, that is from West Bengal. I, however, was born in the west in Maharashtra, where I stayed for about the first 5 years of my life. After which I moved to Kashipur, the same Kashipur that an IIM is.
Yes, that is somewhere in the north, right?
Somewhere in the south of Uttarakhand.
Okay.
It's in the district bordering Uttar Pradesh. It's called Udham Singh Nagar district.
Okay, ठीक है.
So I have done my schooling from Kashipur. So basically IIM Kashipur campus is within 2 kilometers radius from my school.
Nice.
So after that I moved to Bangalore to pursue my bachelor's of engineering in the Bangalore Institute of Technology.
Okay.
Post that I have been working with Bosch in Bangalore at their headquarters, the Automated Driving Alliance. So I have a 1099 profile and my CAT score was 99.58.
Yeah.
I'm in percentile, and I got all calls apart from A and C. So B was my best call, and I was able to convert it.
So both of you will be batchmates there, right?
Yeah, correct.
Right, yes.
One thing that I notice is I think both of you would have done very well in interviews. Okay, when I talk to people also, something or the other stands out. Okay, like in your case, very nice profile. In your case, I think the tell me about yourself is properly sorted.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so I think you would have done very well in interviews, but good. This is what I think people should know also when they are preparing for interviews.
CAT is not even half the game. I mean, tier 1 IIMs ABC have more weightage to your interview and written test than to the CAT. So CAT is not the only game you have to clear.
Yeah, good. So we'll talk about interview experiences, but before that, I just wanted to know about your CAT journey. Okay, how many times did you take CAT? When was the first time you actually thought of really preparing for CAT? Those kind of things. Anyone who wants to go first can.
Yeah, I can begin. So this was my very first CAT attempt.
Really?
Yep, and it all began around June last year when I decided to finally begin preparing. So I was into the mindset of getting myself to the study table and doing something continuously for a dedicated period of time, so that I developed the habit of going back to the classroom, let's say, because then I knew that I had to inculcate that if I have to prepare for something like CAT. So as you already have done or might be still doing, so I completed it in the end of May.
Okay.
After which I began my CAT preparation. So since I had a regular job, I had to figure out some time before I go to office and after I come back from office to really brush up my concepts. And I also first of all did a SWOT analysis to figure out that basically that was through a free mock which I appeared for without any preparation, so that I could realize the areas where I lack and the areas where I'm strong in, so that I could dedicate my limited preparation hours accordingly. So and I have mostly relied on mocks for my preparation because I know that CAT is all about strategy. You have to figure out your strategy of attempting questions. It doesn't matter if you are very talented or you're very hardworking. it's a combination of multiple factors, and the most important one being strategy. So it has been a lot of mocks for me, mostly sectional as well as overall full length mocks for me, which have helped me really in boosting my score. And yep, dash cats to the rescue, I would say. Sectional tests also, I had gotten both of them from Cracku, and they really helped. I realized that after I appeared for the actual cat, I had the first slot, which was you can imagine. I don't want to say anything about it. So after, but really after getting out of the examination center, my first thoughts was in my mind that okay, this was not as easy as 2024, but nevertheless it was it was as close as it could get to the actual to the actual cat. I mean, the mocks were really as close as it could actually get to the cat, so that was really very helpful. And apart from that, yeah, I also had your formula booklet, which I used to revise every day in and out. And yep, staying focused and consistent has really paid off.
Good, man, very good. One thing I wanted to ask is, you started slightly late, right? Okay, two things. Okay, first you have 36 months of work ex. So by the time in June you had more or less 2.5 years.
I have I will complete around 34 months of work ex right now. So back then it was
around 2 years. Yeah. So basically then you have already left your engineering. It's been 2 years. You are working seriously. Okay. So ACATS is, you would be off habit, right? It's not like a habit.
Correct, absolutely.
So how did you actually start getting into that zone? Because many people face that issue, right?
Absolutely. That's when Koti Gita Lekhani actually helped me. So my decision to participate in that initiative served a couple of purposes.
One sec. Can you please first explain what it is? Because I know it, you know it, but I think many people are watching it.
Sure. So there's this Udupi Sri Krishna Matha present in the town of Udupi in Karnataka, that is conducting basically an activity in which it is inviting everyone to write the Bhagavad Gita in their own preferred language and to submit it to the Pithadipati either in person or by post. So that means writing all the adhyayas of Bhagavad Gita. So I participated, I began in sometime in late 2024, and that got concluded in the end of May 2025. And one of the purpose of participating in that initiative was also to develop this habit of regularly devoting a certain amount of time in my schedule to something that really gets me focused and concentrated, so that will eventually help me when I begin my CAT prep journey also.
Very good. I just want to add something to it. I also participated in it. I completed 17 and a half. Okay, now I'm waiting for the last, because my daughter also is learning Bhagavad Gita. Okay, she can recite it, but she's not fully done. Once she will fully get done, I think in the next 6 months or so, we plan to go to Udupi. I want to finish it at that time before we give it. But for me also, it helped me quite a lot, because I thought about it, why does it help and all. I realized that when I have that habit of actually writing something or writing Bhagavad Gita, for example, I realized that my thought process becomes simple. At that time, or after I read Bhagavad Gita, when I'm thinking about it, and for a few hours, my decision making is actually very good, because my mind is very peaceful. The decisions that I take are good, and when you're taking good decisions consistently, it will have a compounded effect. Okay, so even I realized that, and it is a long process. Okay, writing the entire Bhagavad Gita is not something that you can get it done in a week or two. But if you're doing it consistently, every day they want us to write like 2 or 3 like slokas, and just try to remember them. So when you're doing it consistently over a period of a few months, you will realize that suddenly things have improved quite a lot. Okay, for me also, like many people in my company also ask, okay, what happened in the last like 1 year, what happened? But basically, I don't share all of these things, but I could clearly picture that, okay, that has a huge effect in the way I was thinking, okay, or in the way I was actually taking decisions. And it is also very logical. When you're writing Bhagavad Gita or when you're thinking of Bhagavad Gita, you become more peaceful and your decision making improves. So yeah, but when I met him in IRL, I think he noticed this and he asked me. So that was good. Yeah, anyway, coming to you, when did you take CAT for the first time? When did you prepare for it?
Right. So my story is entirely different from his. I was listening to his story, and it has lots of strategy and structure and everything. And I don't think that my story would be very ideal for aspirants as such.
But it would be unique for sure.
Yeah. So I took CAT for the first time in 2024, which was the previous year. I just went to the exam. I just went. I gave the exam. I came out. It was with zero preparation. I got around 94 point something percentile. Then it was this year. Being very honest, my parents wanted me to give CAT.
Good.
So I enrolled for the exam. And this year also, I did not want to do any preparation. So I did not. Then it was 7 days before the exam. 7 days before the exam, there was just something that that awakened inside me that said, you're giving the exam. Prepare for at least some time that you have. You have 7 days, do something. I mean, instead of just again getting up and walking into the exam hall, giving the exam and coming back, when you have 7 days of time, utilize those 7 days. So in those 7 days, I gave as many mocks as, so I went to the Cracku platform. I gave as many mocks as possible. I gave as many previous year papers as possible. So that's what I used to do. So my office timings are up until 9:30, 10 in the night. So I used to come back from office, and for that 1 week, at around 10:30, after coming back from office, I used to sit. I used to give 1 or 2 mocks in the night till 2:30. I would give the mock, then I would check the answers and do that. So for 7 days, I did that. I gave mocks, I gave previous year papers, and then I went to the exam, and then this is it. So that's about.
See, you see many Reddit posts, right? Okay. Some IIT prepared for 7 days and scored this much. But good, good.
We have a real life example here.
Yeah. But again, not recommended.
Definitely, I don't recommend this to aspirants.
But yeah, at least something, it is good that it worked out. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, most people I don't think will be able to do it. With 1 week of preparation, getting 98 plus is not easy. But good. So this, what happened last time? You scored 94, right? But what was the split in each section? Did you do well in any section or?
So I did well in quants last time as well and this time as well. Like it's 99% in quants. Verbal is also I think 98 plus. The section where I really messed up last time was, so in the previous attempt in DILR, I remember I got 55 percentile. I'm just saying this out loud. And this time I think I got 83 percentile. So DILR is one section that, yeah.
Okay, that's fine, it happens. Especially when you are going without preparation, that is the section that is going to hurt you, which is like again as expected. For you, what are the sectional splits?
I have a 99.83 in VARC, which is my highest among the sections. I have a 98.26 in my DILR and a 93.33 in my QA.
Okay, very good. Sorted. So now let's discuss interview experiences. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
How did you prepare for the interviews? Okay. And what were you thinking before you entered the interviews? Both of you had some calls, but not a lot of calls. Okay. I think you didn't have A and C. You also didn't have A and C, right? So B was the big call. Okay.
Right.
So there's always some pressure also, right? Like
Definitely.
one big call. Okay. So how are you preparing for it? And how are you like, just before entering the interview, what were you telling yourself, interview room?
Okay, so I can begin. So in my case, the interview journey has been a very, very introspective. I have dug deep into my past and I have collected all those certificates which were gathering dust in some forgotten file or folder in some cupboard. So I was at home, I was working from home for the entire duration of my MBA interviews, and I had to form a very, very, let's say, something that can be sold easily kind of a statement of purpose, in which I had to really refine it at least 10 times before I hit the final submit button. So I went through all of my achievements, consolidated the ones that were not so important for them to sound that it is indeed important and relevant. I also mentioned some of my unique achievements, like the participation in the Koti Gita Lekhan Yagya. I also have the certificate for that. Apart from that, it has also been a journey of soul searching of the real reason I wanted to go for an MBA and why not go for some any other program for that matter. It has also helped me gain clarity from my past experiences by analyzing my previous decisions, that which domains will probably fit into my sort of personality well. and why for example a college like IIMB would fit perfectly into my dreams and aspirations, which led me to introspect, to look into the IIMB website itself. So I also had to read through the annual reports of not only IIMB but all of the colleges interviews that I was called for, so that I really know that yes, this is a possible place that I would like to go to spend my 2 years of MBA. And yes, one thing that has stayed common throughout my CAT preparation and my interview prep also is that before I went into the examination hall in case of CAT and in the interview room in case of the interviews, I always told to myself that no matter what, it is possible. So this self-confidence is really very, very important, and I don't believe you can achieve anything like getting a convert from India's top B schools without that self-confidence. Your past doesn't matter. What matters is your present. You have to be on the present. You have to have the ability to think on your feet, which is a result of compounded efforts from your past life. It's not something that comes to you overnight. So yes, you need to assure yourself, you need to trust in you need to first of all prepare well. If you're not prepared, then it's
The confidence also will seem fake.
absolutely, you need to first of all be prepared well, and you need to have faith and confidence in yourself that you are in it to win it. That has been my go-to form.
True. No, I would say there are two things I really liked. Okay, one is I think you mentioned very well about the introspection part. Okay, anybody who is preparing for an interview, okay, once they introspect and they know themselves well, okay, then they should also work on the presentation. These are the two things. Many people, I think they just work on the presentation, okay, because many people actually ask me, this will be my answer for this question, is it correct? Okay, and I feel it, irrespective of how it looks, okay, when you're actually saying it, if you don't believe in it, it looks fake, okay. So the introspection part is so important, and many people don't get it. But when I interact with some students, when I know that okay, they think of themselves or this part, I immediately figure out that okay, this guy has thought a lot about first himself. Okay, he's going to do well in the interviews. This I figure it out. So this is what I would advise students also. First introspect, then you plan.
And faking it doesn't really work because the interviewers have been doing it for years and years. So faking it doesn't work at all.
True, that's good. So with you, your interview journey, okay, once the CAT result was out,
Right.
at that time, did you expect calls? Because your percentile is slightly not.
Right. So, yeah, after the result, it was a different journey for me altogether. Until the result, because I did not put in a lot of effort into the exam, I was very chill about it. But then the result came, and then in the call predictors, I saw that I might, I put my profile details and everything, and it showed that there was like a chance of Bangalore call coming in. And that's when I started slowly panicking that I was not prepared for this. So yes. I just trusted the predictors. I was like, they are showing that a Bangalore call would be coming, so let me start preparing. So it was around the end of December, starting of January that I started preparing. So what I first did is I brushed up on my undergraduate major subject, because they would ask questions on that. I saw mine was industrial engineering, and I hardly remembered what I had studied.
But you're a 9-pointer, right?
Yes, I am, but still, I mean, it had been around like 2.5 years since I had passed out, so the concepts were also a bit dusty in my memory. So then I started revising my undergraduate concepts. I also saw that for my stream, for industrial people, a lot of previous interviews, they had asked questions on statistics. Lots of things on statistics, various kinds of probability distributions, and one subject which I was not confident about even in my UG was stats. So I revised all of those things. So that's one thing I did. The other thing I did is I prepared for current affairs, economics, various kinds of political issues going on, because I saw that that's also something that they do ask in the interviews. So I started being up to date with all the political advancements that's going on, all the kinds of current affairs, basic things in economics, finance, things which I was not very great with. So I revised all of those things. That was about the preparation part, like for the content. What I did apart from that is for Bangalore, seniors told me that SOP is very important for Bangalore's application. So your statement of purpose, they actually read it, they go through it. So I put in a lot of effort into my SOP. I remember like going through multiple variations, changes. I went to some mentors, friends, seniors. I asked them to review my SOP, what can be added, what can't be added. So went through multiple revisions of that, and then I like finally crafted an SOP which I was, I think, happy with. So I submitted that.
What were you telling yourself just before going in? Okay, that is your big call, right?
Right. So now my first interview was Bangalore, and I wasn't expecting it at all. I thought that I would have the other calls, maybe I or K before that. I would have a bit of a practice also before giving these interview. But then I think it was on 29th January that the mail came that my interview was on 6th Feb.
Wow.
So it was only, again, it was a week. I'm always stuck with this week of time. So I really panicked at that point because up until 29 January, I was just preparing. I mean, I was brushing up concepts, doing all of that. But I thought maybe interviews would be towards end of Feb or March, or I was just hoping that I would have other calls first.
Yeah.
This came and I now realized I have to lock in and I have to devote these last 5-6 days. So yes, I was in a bit of a stress, and even before going into the interview room, I remember like telling myself, Srinjayee, this is your best call. You have to convert this. There is like, you cannot just mess this up. So yeah, I was in a lot. I am somebody who's generally not under a lot of stress. I prefer to like just let things happen the way they are happening in the flow. But I remember I had that stress on me. I have my own expectations on me, my parents' expectations on me. This is what I have to convert. And I remember my interview in Bangalore was the second last in my panel. So almost everybody's was done until then, and everybody was coming out. I was speaking to them, asking, "Tumse kya pucha? What have they asked you?" And somebody was saying they grilled me a lot on my UG major. And then with every interview, whatever feedback they were saying, so one person came out and said, "UG major pe bahut kuch pooch liya." And I was then quickly revising my industrial subjects. Then somebody else came out and said, "Stats pe bahut kuch pooch liya." Then I was revising stats. So for all the 7 people who went in before me, I was then revising everything, and I was in a lot of stress. So yeah, before going into the interview room, I just told myself in the last second, you're here now. There is nothing more you can do. Go in, give your best. You have it in you. You have done good things before. You should have confidence in yourself. So just go in, speak properly, give the interview, and then the rest is yeah.
So again, I want to ask both of you about interview experiences. Maybe we'll start with you. Okay, basically, how was the interview experience? You gave only B and I, right? So
Yes.
if you can tell us about both of the experiences.
Yeah, sure. So my Bangalore interview lasted for around 14 minutes, which was again one of the reasons why I was stressed is because my interview was the shortest in the entire panel. Mine was second last, so I was seeing all the interviews before that. They were around 25 minutes, almost every interview. And my interview ended in 14 minutes. And after the interview, I was actually a bit confused, like, is this a bad sign? Did they not like me? So they sent me out fast. But yeah, in the interview, there were 3 panelists. There were 2 men and 1 woman. They asked me questions.
They were all professors?
They were all professors at IIM Bangalore. I later searched them on the Bangalore professor list. I saw all of them. So yeah, the first thing they asked me, the very first question I remember, so there was no introduction, nothing. As I had seen in the interview transcript, they at least say like, "Good morning, tell us a bit about yourself." There was zero introduction involved. I went in, I didn't even sit on my chair. I was adjusting the chair and the table, and one of the professors asked, "So do you think it makes sense to open institutes of importance in small towns? Let's say a Jhumri Talaiya like Kharagpur." This is the exact question that he asked me. And then I was giving my answers to that, and he kept on drilling on the same thing. And he said the word Jhumri Talaiya so many times. He's like, Kharagpur it's literally a village. Why do you think we should open an institute there? So that, and then questions went towards.
What did you answer for that?
So I said I think it is actually very important to open institutes in small towns because it improves the economy of the cities. And once institutes of eminence come in, then gradually there would be investment coming into that city. Corporates would maybe come in, they would open offices, jobs would be created. And once jobs are created, the economy of a city improves overall. So that was my defense over there.
Very good. No, I think first of all, again, just diverting, that question I think is very good for you. Okay, what it shows is they have actually gone through your profile, okay, and they're interested. That I would say is much better than just asking the generic, "Tell me about yourself."
Right.
And I think you also gave a good answer, which shows that you thought on your feet. So again, you have the control over the interview at that point of time. But yeah, please continue.
Yeah. So after that, they immediately, so it was like this question was like that, and then suddenly I was like completing my answer to that, and suddenly he asked me, "What's a binomial distribution?" And I had to switch my mind at that point of time because my mind was towards that subjective answer, and suddenly I had to go back to stats and think, what's a binomial distribution? I answered. He said, what's a Poisson distribution? I said. Then he said, when does a binomial distribution become a Poisson distribution? And I didn't know the answer to this, so I said, I don't know. And he said, fine. Maybe like I answered the previous two correctly, so he was like, it's okay. Then the ma'am who was sitting in the middle, she then started. So basically, it was one by one. Like the first professor asked his questions, and then the ma'am asked, and then the third professor asked his questions. Ma'am asked me questions about my work experience, about Zomato, about the kind of commission that Zomato is charging to merchants. Is it too high? Do you think it's unfair for merchants to pay so much commission to Zomato? So it was more of trying to see how well I justify my previous employer without like putting them in a bad light. So they were trying to see that kind of diplomacy maybe. After that, the third professor, sir, started asking me questions. His questions were more on economics, politics, current affairs, etc. So he asked me about, have you seen the budget that has come out? So I said yes. He asked me what all are the things that are there in the budget. So I mentioned a couple of the main pointers. Then he asked me what's India's GDP. So I said it's $4 trillion. And then he said, are you sure? Don't you think it's $10 trillion? I said, no sir, it's 4 trillion. And then like he was trying to confuse me again. So he said again, I think I read it as 10 trillion. So it just went on for a while, but I stuck with 4. Yeah, and then he asked me a bit more on the budget. What do you think are things that India is doing to compete with other countries of the world? How will India develop itself through its budget reforms to make it at par with other countries? So it was a bit of that. He asked a bit on economics, I think the demand supply curve, he asked those things. And yeah, so the last question, how the interview ended very abruptly. The last question he asked me, it was on the, like we were speaking on the budget, and he asked me, the question was, what is the tax evolution in the budget? Which is zero because there was no difference in the tax structure. Like somehow maybe in the stress of the interview, I heard it as tax revolution. And I could not figure out what is tax revolution in the budget. So I said, I'm sorry, I don't know. And I just said that, and he said, okay, you can go. And I remember I was so stressed about this till the date the Bangalore convert came out, because like after coming out of the interview, within 5 minutes I realized he was asking about tax evolution. It's in the budget, and I heard it as revolution. I didn't even clarify that, and it just ended. So that was one thing that I had in my mind. The day the result came, I remember it was there in mind. That one question, is it going to affect my chance? I remember playing out scenarios in my head, what I could have done. I could have asked him, sir, I couldn't hear it properly. Can you mention it one more time? I just walked out of there. So yeah, that's how it ended abruptly.
It's fine. I think if you have done well at the start, I think, would you agree that the start of the interview is super important?
Definitely, yeah. I definitely think so. The start is important. It just helps build that image first, and it kind of continues throughout the interview. So even if you miss a bit in between, they are willing to maybe let that go.
It's a K-shaped graph. Either it goes up from the beginning or it continues to slide down.
Very true.
In most of the cases.
Yeah. So yeah, your interview experiences, okay, about Bangalore in particular, but even others.
Yeah. So my B interview was completely based on my statement of purpose. So the interview, there were 3 panelists again. They had, I guess, gone through my profile to quite a good extent, because they had begun with my industry, which is the automotive industry, since Bosch is one of the leading automotive component suppliers out there. So there was a discussion, I remember, about the formation of a professional body which can serve the purpose as a consulting agency for the as a representative of the consumers, to connect them to the manufacturers, because there is this I remember, as I also mentioned in my interview, the Automotive Component Manufacturers Association. However, the limitation of that is that this is a body that represents only members of the industry, right? If there would possibly be an organization that would bridge the gap between the manufacturer and the consumer, in which direct feedback could be had possibly from the consumers, then I guess it would be a better way to, in the sense of how the automotive industry is evolving. And then again, it switched to the Koti Gita Lekhanya, the motivation behind it. Since I had mentioned it in the SOP, they went into depth of that to understand what it actually is. And After that, I remember it was and not a usual question, I would say, because the question that was asked was, since I am a DevOps engineer, imagine that there is a new project in the team and I ask you to hire employees for the new team. So what roles would you like to fill in and why, and what is your rationale behind choosing those roles? So I think for the first time in my life, I had to think from the perspective of an HR who is about to hire candidates. So I gave a reply in the sense that there should of course be people who can serve as the developers or the DevOps guys who actually do the work. I expect them to be good in communication, since from my practical experience, have observed that more than lack of technical skills, it's the lack of soft skills like effective communication that pose the most hindrance to any team. So plus it's the era of prompt engineering and AI. So I would expect someone with good prompt engineering skills, even though they might not have very great coding skills. That's acceptable. And the other roles would be, so so team by definition composes of more than one person, so there should be, and a DevOps team is not a team that works in isolation. It works in harmony with the developers, testers, etc. They have external clients to face. So I believe there should be a single point of contact, or SPOC as we call it, for the team. So the product owner should ideally be the SPOC for it, for the team. So there should be a product owner, there should be a technical lead who can guide the developers whenever they are stuck or something, who knows in and out about the project. And then there should be a DevOps excellence lead who is responsible to ensure that DORA metrics, as we call it, DevOps observation and research analysis, those metrics are in place sprint by sprint, let's say. This was all about Bangalore. In my other interviews, for example, I remember in my Lucknow interview, I was grilled on my hobbies. So when I mentioned long distance running as one of my hobbies, so they were like, okay, which is the most famous long distance running event in the world? What is the distance of a marathon? Do you know what is Ironman? What are the 3 events in Ironman? How much distance do they cater to? And then there was something also about tourism and travel. So the interviews wanted to check me on my observation skills. So there was a question I remember on what is the latest place you have been to, how far is it from, so I went from Bangalore. So how far is it from Bangalore? Were there any business opportunities that you spotted in that place? So they wanted to basically evaluate my psyche, whether I go there just as a layman, or do I actually have that analytical mindset in me. And coming to Indore, I remember, so Indore also has an optional extempore in their interview. So the topic caught me pretty off guard, because the topic of the extempore was, imagine that all the states in India have borders as rivers. There is no land border, there are rivers. So what would the condition be? What would the scenario play out as? So I was like, boom. For 5 to 10 seconds, I was boom, what to do? Then they offered me around 60 seconds. So I thought it from a political point of view, that in case there are opposing political parties ruling neighboring states, then there would be a lot of dispute when it comes to construction of infrastructure like highway, like bridges, dams, etc. And but in case the ruling parties are for part of an alliance, or if it is the same ruling party, so that the situation would play out to be much more easy. So I thought it from that perspective, and I don't know, it must have surely impressed the interviews, because I have an Indore convert. So yeah, that was about it.
Good, man. Very nice. So you converted all the interviews, or did you miss out on any interview that you went to? You converted?
I have been placed on waiting list in Kozhikode.
Okay.
Apart from that, I have all converts.
I gave only Bangalore and Indore. I converted both of them.
What do you think happened in Kozhikode? You think the interview went well, or you think?
According to me, it did go well. There was also a probability question given to me. I think I solved it, at least to my satisfaction. I did. I'm not really sure. I remember I answered all the questions. Maybe I did not answer it to the interview satisfaction, or maybe I messed up the pretendability test. I think I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine. I have 3 questions. Okay. One is basically, what are the plans for IIMB? Both of you are going. Okay. What are the plans? Like, how is your mindset with respect to IIMB? Okay, and after that I'll ask the remaining two questions. You can go first.
Yeah, so in my case, I work at a place which is exactly 7.5 kilometers from IIMB. So I have seen the campus from outside quite a lot of times. So it's literally the dream college for me. So very excited to be there, and very excited to learn from among the arguably the best faculty in the country. I am open to exploring in my first term, although I have some shortlists with regard to the domain I want to go to. I also went through the subjects that they have to offer in the first year. So seems interesting and seems very promising. Looking absolutely forward to it.
Nice.
So almost similar to him, I currently stay around 5 kilometers away from the IIM Bangalore campus, and I went to the campus for my interview. So I've seen the campus from within, one of the most beautiful campuses that I've seen, and all that nostalgia about Three Idiots is also there. I remember after the interview, I video called my father and showed him, see, this is the campus. You remember this is the scene where the Rancho was standing and he was standing and all of that. So yeah, very excited about the campus. I've heard great things about it. It is like very filled with lush greenery and everything. So that's a plus point. I've also heard that the mess food is great in IIM Bangalore. So yeah, I also received from one of the seniors a snapshot of the mess menu, and the food was great in that. But yeah, apart from those things, I think I'm looking forward to building. So there's one thing that's missing in my profile, that is finance. So I have consult and general management strategy experience, but finance is something that I have kind of stayed away from throughout my BTech as well, and even now. So maybe that's one kind of specialization that I would want to do, just make myself a little more aware in finance related topics. One more thing, in one of your podcasts on YouTube, I saw you telling that in IIMA, in your first term, one subject that you struggled a bit with was accounting. Same, accounting is the I went through the term 1 syllabus. I saw there's accounting for financial decisions, and I'm also very stressed about accounting. So I'm just thinking, how would I manage that?
I'll tell you about that. Basically, I struggled with accounting. Finally, I scored well, but the problem is I had to devote so much time into it. Okay, and again, I mentioned many of my podcasts. The reason I struggled was because I was caught unawares. If you prepare a little, if you know the basics, okay, picking up from there is not very difficult. I was completely caught unawares. I think these 2 months I kind of wasted being just so happy. Okay, if you prepare just a little, if you spend 1 hour a day, that is sufficient. I think accounting is not so difficult. You will do pretty well. Just don't be, for me, the first 1 week it was just going all over my head. Okay, then again you are underconfident. I have these underconfidence issues, so you shouldn't be like that. You should just prepare for this 2 months. Just a little, like what he has done, I really liked. You went through the courses, right? Okay.
Yeah.
This is what I would advise everybody to do. Okay, go through what are the courses that are being taught. Okay, and try to get at least a synopsis of what is exactly going to be taught there. Then brush up on it. Try to find some videos on YouTube. Okay, so that you have at least a base foundation. Then you can pick up very easily.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. Like I saw this accounting, the remaining courses like marketing management, etc. I think I have an idea of those because I studied a bit of that in college as well. I took up some electives in marketing, etc., entrepreneurship, and all of that. So yeah, I'm just looking at some YouTube videos, trying to brush up a bit on my accounting concepts, so I'm not caught off guard immediately when I go to the campus.
That's good. Okay. So the last 2 questions, they're related. Okay. One good thing that you did in your CAT journey and in your interview journey, and one mistake that you made which you don't want future aspirants to repeat. Okay. You can go first now.
I think the good thing, there are 2 good things. I think one is, it's very subjective. It's not like a proper pointer, but I think it is I maintained my faith in me. I had confidence in myself. So even when I went to give the exam with just 7 days of preparation, I remember the same thing which I told myself before getting into the B interview room, that you are here now. This is all you have. Like there's no point of now overthinking of whether I've done preparation or not or anything. Like just give your best, have faith in yourself. And I think genuinely having that kind of confidence and faith in yourself really calms you down, helps you give your best without because I have seen that the more I judge myself, the more I doubt myself, my performance goes down. Like the last time when I gave CAT, I remember because I didn't have any preparation, I was feeling very jittery, very nervous that how am I going to do it? I have not prepared anything, and that kind of botched up my performance a bit. So this time I maintained my calm. I was like, okay, you have got this. So that's one thing which maybe I've done well in both the interview room and in giving the exam. The other good thing I think is during my interview preparation, so I did not take the exam prep very seriously, but I took the interview prep seriously. So I think the good thing here is once I got the opportunity, I did not take it casually or let it pass. So I then actually put my effort. I ensured that when life has given me this opportunity, I should put in now my 100% to make sure that I make the best use of this opportunity. So that at that point of time, I remember, as I mentioned, my office ends at around 10 p.m. So after that, even the interview preparation, it used to be hectic for me, because starting at 10:30, 11, studying till 3 in the morning, and then again going to office. So all of that. So at that point of time, I put in my best, and I think I have the result of it now.
True, very good. And something that you didn't do well, which you don't want. I think it's obvious, but I would.
Yes, what I didn't do well, I would definitely say my exam prep. Now I realized that maybe if I had even given 1 month to it, I could have scored 99 plus, and maybe I would have received AC calls now. So yes, I think what I didn't do well is I took the exam prep part too casually. When I knew that I had anyway enrolled for it, I should have put in a bit of effort, which I did in the second part of the interview preparation. I should have done it during exam prep as well. Yes.
Okay, good. So one thing that you did well, one thing you didn't do well.
Yeah. In my case, I think the thing that has worked out the most in my favor in this journey is my ability and habit to be consistent and to show up even when times are not that good. So my journey has been more of a seesaw journey in which I have seen the highs and the lows. I have been through all of that. But the one thing that stayed put in my mind was that all of this does not really matter. What matters is what you do on the last Sunday of November, right? So even if I got a very not a good score, a very bad score or an average score in a particular mock, that did catch me off guard. But then I also reinforced the belief that this is not the final CAT score, and the final CAT score is something that you are still looking forward to, and there is still sufficient time for you to improve. So I think I stayed consistent right from the day I began my journey. Even though I have been through the downs and the lows, I kept myself motivated, and I knew that if I am unable to carry the momentum forward and I collapse, then it's gone. Then the entire effort till now is completely wasted. So the ability to begin afresh, have a clear mind again, and to have a clear mind, I went for running. I have also participated in 10K, 25K and half marathons during the CAT prep. I went to swimming to get my mind afresh. So I think that has worked, and incremental and iterative approach has worked out for me very well. And something that I think I did not do is, I think similar to her, I think I should have started earlier, in fact, because June is, I think, already quite late. So I think I could have started earlier, and then I would have had more amount of time in my hand so that I could be further thorough with the exam preparation. I think that would be.
One last thing, okay, is basically they want me to always ask, okay. Basically, what are the things about Cracku that you like? What are the things that you used, and what are the things that you liked?
In my case, I have used Cracku's mocks the most. So as I already mentioned some time ago, Cracku's mocks, as I realized after I appeared in the actual exam, have been the most close, as close as it gets to the actual paper. The type of questions that you set in the Cracku mocks are actually resembling the very questions that appear in CAT. The interface, moreover, when you are appearing for the mock is, I mean, an identical copy of the actual interface, provided it does not change this year. But at least till last year, 2025 CAT, it's been very similar, exactly the similar, I would say. And moreover, the quality of your doubt solving videos. So there are video solutions that you and IIM personally record for each and every question. That actually helps a lot in instantly clearing your doubt or instantly getting that thing out of your mind that, okay, this needs to be this way. That has been the single most attractive factor for me when it comes to Cracku.
Okay, thank you.
It's exactly the same as what he said, almost word by word. But again, the mocks are wonderful. Like everything I have today, this call and everything, is thanks to those mocks that I gave. I remember as many mocks as there were on the platform, and the mocks, as he mentioned, like they were a very similar, very close replica of how the questions actually appeared in the exam. And I remember, like after solving all the mocks, when I used to check the answers, the doubt solving videos, as he mentioned, so like the concepts that I could clarify through the doubt solving videos, they were also great. So yes, I would definitely say the mocks and the doubt solving, all of them.
Can I ask you a couple of questions, or do you have any other?
No, this is it. You can ask me questions here.
My first question would be, I don't know if it has ever come to your mind or not. Why are the sections in CAT in that order as they are?
Very interesting. I never thought of it, but I got used to it, okay, because I take CAT also. Yeah. I actually like the fact that quant is at the end, okay. Because for me, I feel, okay, even if my LRD is messed up, okay, even if I'm not super confident of my verbal, I know that, okay, quant is at the end, so it is good, okay. So for me, I'm just used to it, and I like it, okay. I would ideally say it is actually best, because if LRD is at the start, okay, everybody is very nervous. You would panic more. If it is at the end, you will always have that anxiety that, okay, LRD is at the end, okay, how to do, okay. Right now, I think it's perfect, okay.
But somehow I feel like I do not like the order of CAT. I don't like that VARCs at the beginning. Just somehow I feel when my mind is fresh, I love quants. Like the section that I love amongst these three is quants. And I would want it to be at the beginning, so that firstly I have some confidence at the start of the paper, and then that momentum can then carry forward. And what happens is, if VARC is there at the beginning, a lot of your brain, like your energy is drained, because you have to read those long RCs and everything. So my mind is kind of dull by the time I move to LRDI. Like quants is refreshing, like I enjoy doing it. So after quants, if there's VARC or LRDI, I think that would be better for me.
Yeah, so for you, quant, LRD and verbal.
Yes, or maybe quant, verbal, LRD, anything is fine, but quant should be at the beginning.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have another one. So, how do you think, and what kind of disadvantage or what kind of differentiation do you think would an IT engineer face when it comes to IIMs? Because then, from an IT engineer point of view, I have been only in STEM subjects, and now I'm moving completely out of, not completely, maybe mathematics will still be there, but then I'm moving into the realm of commerce, away from science. So how do you think that is going to impact me, given that I have no background?
One thing I would say is, even I was a STEM engineer, I think she's also a STEM engineer. One thing is, I'll tell you the mistakes I made, okay, and how it impacted.
Yeah, that was my next question. That what did you think, now that you have the benefit of hindsight, what do you think you did wrong and that we could prevent?
In those MBA years, I used to focus again on quant subjects because I like quant, okay, and I used to focus on that, and I think I was also subconsciously like condescending towards the other subjects, okay, and like for example, the other subjects, first of all, I didn't score well in marketing. I put effort, but I didn't score well. But the other subjects like OBE subjects, this organization behavioral subjects like HR and all, I would be so condescending because I felt there is no way in my life I can ever be a HR, or I can't picture myself being a HR, okay. But now here, one of the most important things I do is HR, okay. Every person that we hire, okay, I always interview beforehand. Many people I actually interview firsthand so that I can talk to that person, get a sense, okay. So, and I use many of the things that I actually learned at that time. So one thing I would say is you should be open-minded about all the subjects. You don't know what subjects are useful. You don't know when in your life you're actually going to use them. All the quant subjects that I studied, okay, I don't use them at all, okay. All this option pricing, all that I learned, I don't use at all, okay. Many of the decision making is another quant subject, okay, like optimizing some lines and all, okay. I never use. I scored well, but I never use at all. The things that I use now are actually marketing, where luckily I put effort, okay, and OB courses where I didn't put effort, okay. but still somehow I learned something or the other. But I should have put a lot more effort at that time because I would have learned more if I had put in that effort. So one real advice I would give is, if you're open-minded, as a STEM engineer or an IT engineer, I don't think you would face too much negative things, okay? You should be open-minded, you should give every subject there your best, okay? And try to learn as much as you can, try to participate as much as you can. These are the things I would say. The disadvantage, one thing I would say is because it will be difficult for you to stand out. That is one thing that you should be mindful about, okay? In your particular case, I think if you get a shortlist, okay, just having interacted with you in both IRL as well as here, I think you will do well in the interview, okay? One thing you should be focused on is how to get that shortlist, okay? That because the shortlist comes before they actually meet you. It is based on your resume, okay? So you have to put effort into your resume so that you stand out, okay? That would be maybe a disadvantage because there will be so many IT engineers, okay? So then that should be something you should be focused on, okay? Cool, man. Okay. I'm so happy both of you came here. I actually enjoyed this conversation. I'm genuinely interested.
Same here.
We are happy that we got to
Yeah.
speak to you.
So, yeah, cool.